business meeting. The goatee had to go bye-bye.
Really?
Yeah, I had done that enough for a while.
Oh, you completely changed your character.
Yeah. So the goatee will be back a little bit. Yeah.
Raul G for 420. Thank you, Raul G. Much appreciated. Sup, Pete? Hope you're doing well. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Raul G. I do appreciate that. That's really nice of you. Hold on a second, folks. Let me shut this door.
The downside of it is getting carded every 2 seconds.
Let me just shut that.
That's not so bad.
I think I heard the baby crying. I don't want anybody to hear
It's like you're not allowed to come into this establishment. You're not 21. And I'm like, God.
Oh, you don't have the facial hair. Well, S. Edwards, it was a summer stash, but I couldn't stand it any longer. It was just driving me nuts. It was just driving me nuts. I felt like it was constantly wet all the time.
Ooh,
I don't know, some guys take it.
Drink something or eat something. There it is. It's just mustache eating up your face.
Yeah, it gets annoying sometimes.
I can rock one. I feel perfectly confident rocking one. I think it suited me. But facial hair is a commitment that I'm just not somebody can stick with for very long.
No, I think it would be hot too for the summertime.
Yes, that's usually when I shave it.
But I used to go to my barber and I'd have him trim it up every 2 weeks. You know, like I would do maintenance on it, but I'd get it done really nice every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you can't do that now.
You can tell when like I'm totally done up and like my facial hair has been trimmed by the barber. Like you see in those videos how sharp it looks.
Yeah.
But I can't go to the barber now. Still, you know what I'm talking about, you know. Well, that's out the window. Anyway, people, let's talk about Stargates of Atlantis. I really want to get into tonight's topic without too much fanfare. This is based on the work of William Henry from 2005. Atlantis. The British historian and novelist H.G. Wells put it best when he once observed, "There is magic in names, and the mightiest among those words is the magic of Atlantis. If it is as this version of a lost culture touched the most hidden thoughts of our soul." Of course, by far, the most illustrious of all the voices in Atlantis choir was Plato, who, repeating the story of his cousin's excursion into Egypt, reintroduced the epic story of Atlantis to the collective human imagination. He is the father of Atlantology. Pardon me. According to Manly P. Hall, Plato, whose real name was Aristocles, was initiated into the mysteries in Egypt at the age of 49. His tale of Atlantis appears in Timaeus, in which Critias tells Socrates how, visiting the Egyptian capital, Plato's ancestor Solon was told by a priest, "O Solon, Solon, you Greeks are all children, and there is no such thing as an old Greek. You are all young in mind and have no belief rooted in old traditions, and no knowledge hoary with age. In our temples, we have preserved from the earliest times a written record of any great or splendid achievement or notable event which has come to our ears, whether occurred in your part of the world or here or anywhere else. Whereas with you and others, writing and other necessities of civilization have only just been developed when the periodic scourge of the deluge descended and spared none but the unlettered and uncultured, so that you had to begin again like children in complete ignorance of what has happened in our part of the world or in yours in early times. So these genealogies of your own people, which you were just recounting, are little more than children's stories. The age of our institutions is given in our sacred records as 8,000 years. Plato, who is considered one of the world's greatest scholars, left little room to doubt that what he subscribed to wholeheartedly to the historicity of Atlantis and repeated cataclysms. 9,000 years before Plato's conversion was recorded, a war took place between an ancient pristine Athens and Atlantis. At the time, Atlantis was the island larger than Libya and Asia put together that was overcome by earthquakes. It is the source, says Plato, of an impenetrable mud which prevents passage beyond the Pillars of Hercules and across the Atlantic. Plato's description of Atlantis came shortly after the Jews were in exile in Babylon in 600 BC and were taking history lessons from Sumerian texts that contained the missing prehistory to the Hebrew book of Genesis. These texts speak of a massive cataclysm that destroyed an advanced race. They tell of how the Sumerian gods Enki and Ninhursag intervened in the evolution of humanity and created an advanced civilization that was destroyed, and how they assisted in the long march to renewing civilization. These beings were the shining ones of Eden and early biblical times. In Plato's Atlantis, stories of Enki became Poseidon, the ruler of Atlantis. For more than 3,000 years, people have been magnetically attracted and bedazzled by Plato's story of Enki / Poseidon's island empire of Atlantis, and have either dismissed it as mere legend or have transformed this story into true hidden history. Many feel that Atlantis is purely fable or a metaphor, and that the water that destroyed it is simply a symbol for a new wisdom that replaced the old. Those who dismiss the tale of Atlantis are of Aristotle's school. He compared his teacher's story with that of Homer's narrative of the wall, which the Greeks were said to have constructed to protect mythical Troy, but which was destroyed by divine intervention. Aristotle's belief was that both Homer's tale of Troy and Plato's Atlantis were inventions of storytellers seeking to embellish their storylines. Aristotle claimed that Plato sank the island so that it could never be found. With Homer's Iliad as his guide, Heinrich Schlieffen went hunting for ancient Troy in 1870. When he found it, new life was breathed into the belief that Atlantis was also an actual place. Balancing Aristotle's view on Atlantis was Crantor, circa 300 BC, the first editor of Plato's Timaeus. To him, Plato's story was literal and historically accurate. According to some sources, he even sent investigators to Egypt to verify these sources. Allegedly, Egyptian priests claimed records found on still-standing pillars verified the story of Atlantis. Egypt is certainly the land of pillars. The stout columns of Karnak are unforgettable. Truly awe-inspiring are these three mysterious ancient pillars we call the Pyramids of Giza, clumped together on the plateau of the gods. They represent a high science and industry capable of creating a nearly indestructible edifice. Are these the pillars of record? Despite the fact that nearly 2,000 books have been written about Atlantis in the 20th century, many written about the Atlantean origin of the Egyptians, Sumerians, Indo-Aryans, and native South American civilizations, we may never be able to prove to some that Atlantis existed. Still, Atlantis reminds us that there was once great, that all reminds us all that was once great about the human race and can be again. In a state of mind guided by the gods, glued together by far-flung ideas and large measures of hope, here is the essential story of Atlantis as told by Plato.
Frameshift drive charging.
Once upon a time, Plato begins in Critias. The gods divided up the earth between them. Each took a territory, and having done so, populated it with humans, their creatures, and children. The gods looked after humankind as shepherds looked after their flock, he notes, using mental telepathy to guide and persuade the mortal creatures in their care. Poseidon's share of the god's earthly spoils was Atlantis, and he settled the children born to him by a mortal woman in a particular district of it. At the center of the island near the sea, on the most beautiful plain, was a hill. Here lived one of the original earth-born inhabitants called Evenor and his wife, Leucippe. They had only one child, a daughter named Cleito. She was just of marriageable age when her parents died, and Poseidon was attracted by her and had intercourse with her. He fortified the hill where she was living by enclosing it in concentric rings of sea and land, making the place inaccessible to other humans. He equipped the central island with godlike lavishness. Poseidon begot 5 pairs of male twins, brought them up, and divided the islands of Atlantis into 10 parts, which he distributed between them. His oldest son, Atlas, was given his mother's home district. Atlantis is named for Atlas. In the center was a shrine to Poseidon and Cleitio, surrounded by a golden wall through which entry was forbidden. For many generations, Plato tells us, a divine element in the nature of the hybrid children of Atlantis survived. They retained a certain greatness of mind and employed a high standard of living and lives of impeccable character. But then, the divine element in them became weakened by frequent admixture with mortal stock, and their human traits became predominant. They ceased to be able to carry their prosperity with moderation, says Plato. The degenerative strain began to covet power and unbridled ambition. The god of gods, Zeus, whose eye can see such things, became aware of the wretched state of this admirable stock. He decided to punish them and reduce them to order by discipline. He accordingly summoned all the gods to his own most glorious abode, which stands at the center of the universe and looks out over the whole realm of change, and when they had assembled, addressed them as follows. Here, Plato's dialogue cuts off. For a brief synopsis, we've learned that the gods came to Earth, mated with humans, created a new race of hybrid godmen, and built a protected enclosure for them at the center of Atlantis. After this race achieved a high degree of civilization, it began to degenerate because of a dilution of divine essence. Zeus, living in the center of the universe, destroys Atlantis. I've investigated this divine essence in my book, Oracle of the Illuminati. It was also the primary subject of the Gnostic text known as the hypostasis of the archons, or the reality of the rulers. In short, the Gnostics believed humans possessed a divine particle that is jealousy, coveted by a class of beings called archons or rulers. We have it, they don't, they want it. The magical name Atlantis, I will contend, refers to more than just a vanished land bridge between Europe and America, or a global kingdom that may soon arise. It is our constant craving, an irrepressible ideal, a world symbol that conjures visions of ancient glory, a divine element that was lost. Atlantis is meant to be the guiding myth of human civilization. It is the great phoenix bird of myth, immolating and reconstituting over and over again. Like a psychological angel or demon relegated to the deepest recesses of the subconscious, it will rise again. The question is when. As evidenced by their use of stellar symbolism in their religious art, the initiates of ancient times knew the precession of the equinoxes, a timekeeping system which divides a 26,000-year great year into astrological new ages of approximately 2,150 years each. They predicted that humanity would make a quantum leap into a new rung of evolution's golden spiral during the age of Pisces, which commenced during the time of Jesus, and another in the second millennium AD, at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Time reveals everything. Our ability to grasp the importance of the Atlantis myth to current events is matched only by our ability to absorb the astounding. Atlantis is the missing piece in the puzzle. It is the beginning and the ending of all that is. The complement to the biblical Eden and the Book of Revelation's New Jerusalem, the 12-gated city that will descend from the sky. The theory of Atlantis has traditionally been studied almost entirely as a topic of archaeology, geology, and history. This, however, is not the whole story. Atlantis is a creation myth, a la the Old Testament book of Genesis. This means it is susceptible to many levels of interpretation, including the historical, but also the metaphorical and allegorical. To use a modern word, Atlantis is a meme, a catch-all phrase or code symbol. Like America, it is a place name, but also a mental program, a matrix or realm of possibility. It is a spiritual goal. Intriguingly, the word meme is composed of me, pronounced may, the name of the lost tablets of creation in the Sumerian myth. The Anunnaki lord Enki, Poseidon in Atlantis, guarded these tablets at his temple in Eridu. When Plato repeated this story, he unleashed a mind-altering idea. Passing through the millennia and winding down road after road through culture after culture like a river, this tune has gained resonance. A river seeks to find the ocean. I believe the Atlantis story itself, a stargate, leading us to a cosmic ocean. If Atlantis only exists as a brain pattern or frequency, nabbed out of thin air by billions of antennas embedded in celestial central nervous systems and replicated billions of times throughout history, so let it be. Some claim Jesus Christ is also a meme. Look at the impact such vibes have on humanity. Curiously, both Jesus and Atlantis are symbolized by a cross. As is true, the meme of the cross is a symbolic representation of and substitute for Jesus. The story of Atlantis has been passed along vertically throughout generations and horizontally among groups of like-minded individuals. The great initiates. Both stories symbolize the triumph of enlightenment over ignorance. Both teachings have been a continuous state of alteration and vigorous promotion. Both deserve their acclaimed moniker of the greatest story ever told. Transmitted along with the meme for Atlantis is a symbol or icon known as the Cross of Atlantis. As with the living cross, the Cross of Atlantis should be viewed as a living structure, both metaphorically and technologically. The capital of Atlantis was a maritime city with an enormous port, having altering zones of land and sea divided into 3 zones. The innermost ring was a sacred mountain, possibly a volcano, where the original race of Atlas rose. The Atlanteans built a royal palace atop this hill, and it became a marvel to behold for its size and beauty. In the middle of the citadel was a temple dedicated to Poseidon and Cletion. This description of 2 great circles of land around an island and 3 great circles of water around the land reveals the symbol for Atlantis, known as the Cross of Atlantis. A symbol is a sign. A great symbologist, Jordan Maxwell, notes in the introduction to Stellar Theology, a symbol indicates direction or it forms one of ownership. A sign is a logo that says this item belongs to this group. The Cross of Atlantis says this place belongs to the gods, humans keep out. The Atlantis logo is composed of a sun disk or a cross of light embedded in concentric rings, according to Lawrence Gardner, writing in the Magdalene Legacy. A cross within a circle is called a Rosus Crucius, the dew cup, and it is the original symbol for the Holy Grail. The concentric rings primarily symbolize vibration. In addition, these concentric rings may also represent a 2-dimensional expression of a 3-dimensional experience, that of traveling through an interstellar passageway called stargates or wormholes. In fact, extraordinary possibilities when interpreting the Atlantis meme is one that I'd like to go into here. The hypothetical spacecraft, negative energy, induction ring. Oh, let me begin again there. The hypothetical spacecraft with a negative energy induction ring was inspired by recent theories, described how space could be warped and negative energy to produce hyperfast transport to reach distant star systems. In the 1990s, NASA Research Center led Breakthrough Propulsion's physics project. In the past few years, the scientifically rooted concept of wormholes and stargates, also called the East-Einstein-Rosen Bridge, have become popular topics of such television shows as Star Trek The Next Generation and Sliders, and movies such as Stargate, Contact, which feature ancient Stargate technology for opening wormholes in space-time. When the concentric rings of Atlantis are interpreted as a vibration, a ring, or a stargate, it suggests that as a creation tale, one of the most important concepts that the theory of Atlantis embodies lies in the stargate. Theoretically, physicists view wormholes as time machines that may open gateways to parallel dimensions. They are the subjects of such intense scientific research in America and Europe. If we apply the three-dimensional approach to the two-dimensional concentric rings of Atlantis, we may hypothesize that it symbolizes a vortex. The Great Cross of Atlantis may be thought of as a great crossing place. Ooh. Pardon me, folks. I'm having an issue here. There we go. And the Great Cross of Atlantis may be thought of as a great crossing place, a place of passage, a place to pass through one realm to another, perhaps even to pass over the stars or pass through the galaxy. As mentioned, the symbol of Atlantis is derived from the description of the enclosure constructed by the gods to keep protected the original sacred hill of Atlantis. As noted by Plato, the gods built this enclosure to keep humans out. Therefore, the sign of Atlantis could read, Atlantis, property of the gods, humans keep out. In this capacity, the crossing of Atlantis is identical to the Garden of Eden, because Adam and Eve were disobedient to Yahweh. The God of Eden sent them out of the garden in Genesis 3:23. He placed at the east of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way. It rotated gyroscopically to keep the way of the tree of life. Significantly, the tree of life is equated with the cross. Therefore, the descriptions of the mysterious gates of Eden is of a rotating gate. This description of the rotating gate of Eden brings to mind a gyroscope and also the alien Stargate machine featured in the Warner Brothers movie Contact from 1996. Now, I never saw Contact. Is that the one with Jodie Foster?
Yeah, that was a good movie. It was cool. It was like a wheel within a wheel spinning. And then they had her like in a little sphere and they dropped it through it. And by the time she ended, on the ground or caught her, she had went and spent, I don't know how many hours in this other dimension. It's a good movie.
Sounds like an interesting flick. Sounds like something worth checking out. Here's an image from the movie, I believe.
You'll like it.
The gyroscopic Stargate machine from the movie Contact.
Yeah, they also, it's cool, right? And they also left it open, to have the God view and also the scientific view, which I appreciated in that movie. Matthew McConaughey. No, it's not Matthew McConaughey. It's the other guy that favors him with a crooked nose. Owen Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's in it. I may be wrong, but I think it is. I'm sure the chat will know.
Jay Centerfold for $5. Thank you, Jay Centerfold. I really appreciate that. Jay Centerfold says, Pete, your storytelling is marvelous. Thank you, Creepers, for doing what you do, what you're all doing. Oh. It's definitely not going unnoticed. So thank you, Jared Centerfold. I do appreciate that. That's really awesome. I do appreciate you. Noticing that, I like when people appreciate my storytelling abilities and try to make it as entertaining as possible. And sometimes the stuff we talk about can be dull to the outside observer. I think you need to have a special kind of fortitude to be interested in the kind of topics we're interested in around here. Most people don't like to think about this kind of stuff.
It's like a good teacher. You're like a good teacher, Pete. You make it interesting. Those teachers you had, you remember in school, it'd be the subject you hated, but you enjoyed it because the teacher was so good. And that's what you do.
Well, thank you. So, at this point on, the average person is going to be thinking, are you fucking kidding me? A regular person, let alone a credentialed archaeologist, when discussing such phenomenon as Atlantis, can barely accept the idea of vanished civilization. Adding to this mix the possibility that the inhabitants were advanced, possibly even vastly advanced from our hyper-technological civilization is nonsense. Babble in Hebrew, a word which originally meant gate. This is unique as it is revolutionary. It's also quite hopeful, as the concept of Atlantis rising is the jewel of many prophecy hunters. As we can see, wormhole symbolism is rampant in the story of Atlantis. It suggests that the rising of Atlantis has to do with the rising of theoretical physics. For instance, in his discourse, Phaedeo, Plato records the astonishing revelation of Socrates in the last moments before his execution, that the true earth itself looks like from above, if you could see it, like those 12 patched leather balls. The 12 patched leather ball described is a dodecahedron. So, this is what we're talking about. The dodecahedron with 12-sided faces was used as a teaching tool to instruct the initiate to know him or herself as an energy system like the Earth. Incredibly, a new study of only recently available scientific data hints that the universe is roughly shaped like a soccer ball, a dodecahedron. Remarkably, Plato is describing the Earth as a three-dimensional pentagonal web into which the soul incarnates. The ancient Greeks likely learned from the Egyptians that the human body is ideally structured geometrically to interface with the dodecahedron and its pentagonal grid. Plato was not alone in his understanding of the 12-sided Earth. The Cherokee held a complementary belief. In addition, the 2nd century AD, a group of Christian Gnostics described the spheres of the Earth being surrounded by 12-angled pyramids. These 12 angles are described as the eyes and pipes, and even more fascinating to our investigation, as holes or halls into the earth. These, it appears, are the gates of the New Jerusalem. Today, most researchers into sacred earth energies concur that the planetary grid has 12 primary vortex zones, halls or holes, with the Great Pyramid at the apex control. A network of temple sites throughout the earth marks the grid. These sites roughly include the Great Pyramid of Giza and Heliopolis, the City of the Sun, the 1,000-foot-high pyramids of southern China, 90 degrees opposite of Giza, Easter Island, 180 degrees opposite the Great Pyramid, the City of the Sun at Cusco, Peru, Teotihuacan, God, I always say that wrong, Teotihuacan in Mexico, the vortices of the Four Corners area of the USA, the Mississippi Valley of the southeastern USA, Oak Island, Nova Scotia, the southern France centered at Rennes-le-Chateau, France. The 12-fold form is found in numerous mythic structures, including the following. In this, we see very clearly at the center, Meru, the Great Magnetic Mountain, the center of Atlantis, enfolded with the 12-petal lotus. If that's not enough, we also see here King Arthur's Atlantean Round Table, or the Mount of Salvation at the center of the Zodiac. The activation of this 12-fold planetary grid is called the quickening of the Earth, an increase in the vibratory levels of humanity and Earth, which is thought to spark higher intelligence and increased linkage between minds. The quickening of our civilization is the result of the quick beams or quick rays emanating from the core of our galaxy and likely radiating through the Meru or center of Atlantis. Now, Meru is the world mountain. Meru is called the world mountain. Turning to Buddhist imagery, we find a remarkable image of Meru. The logo for Atlantis on the left, and the mandala of Meru, the center of Atlantis. From the top-down perspective, by Samuel Beal, London, 1882, Meru appears as a concentric ring. And one wonders if this is the ring at the top of the Meru symbol. In the following image, an hourglass or wormhole shape world mountain Meru rises from the great ocean of space from Japan at 1678. The wormhole shape suggests Meru was a gateway to another dimension. The Buddhist death called the collapse of the world pillar Meru. In the lower right, ridge tit shatters into curious cubes that suggest crystals or even other dimensions. The collapse of a wormhole.
That's a collapse?
Yep. Given the puns we have explored, could the world mountain Meru actually be a world whirling or spinning mountain? Interestingly, Meru is believed to have been the model for the Tower of Babel, located in Sumeru or Sumer. Further, as spinning is the same as turning from Tur, does not indicate the Tower of Babel was a spinning or turning pillar? It is once said the Buddha achieved enlightenment, and he placed a victory banner on the summit of Mount Meru, symbolizing his victory over the entire universe. Again, Mount Meru is believed to be the central axis supporting the world. The flag of victory also denotes Buddha's triumph over Mara, who personifies hindrances on the path to spiritual realization. Specifically, there are said to be 4 types of Maras, each one representing an individual hurdle on the path to spiritual progress. These are the Mara of emotional defilement, the Mara of passion, the Mara of fear of death, and the Mara of pride and lust. It was only after conquering these 4 negative traits that Buddha could proclaim victory over ignorance and achieve nirvana. Here, it is worth a brief diversion to note that in calling Jesus the way, the early Christians were following in the footsteps of the Buddhists. Just as converts to Christianity long after the fact have altered their image of Jesus, a similar aesthetic makeover was applied to Buddha. Early Buddhist art considered of symbolic representations of the Buddha. It was customary to represent the Buddha as a pair of footprints, indicating the way to walk to enlightenment, or an 8-spoked wheel for the wheel of truth, the Anunnaki symbol for kingship. There's also the early Christian 8-rayed wheel. And the 8-rayed symbol of the Nibiru Gate. Web archaeologists discovered remains of the early Sumerian civilization, and the symbol of the Gate of the Gods was prominently displayed. The Sumerian god Enki became Poseidon in their story of Atlantis. Sumerians depicted this gate as an 8-pointed star The star sign denoted such terms as the Lord Anu, Dinger, the Bright One, and High, and Ana or An as heaven, was often found as a detriment in front of the names of a determinant rather, in front of the names of the shining ones. Thus, Dinger EA indicated the shining lords of waters. Sitchins assigned the Babylonian version of the symbol of the cross of light to Enki's homeworld of Nibiru, which means crossing place or gate. The particle accelerators of Atlantis. Relaxing after a presentation on this subject in Florida a few years ago, a scientist approached me. He told me he was asleep through most of my presentation, until I put up that blueprint. Blueprint? What blueprint? I asked. He fished through my slides until he came to the 2nd century drawing of the Miller Pillar or Tower. In my talk, I presented as an example of a possible grail tuner, and as a candidate for the rod shown in Jesus' hand in early Christian art. That blueprint, he responded. Studying the drawing, the scientist told me that he designed a particle beam weapons for a living. Laser cannons, lightsabers. You know, Star Wars type weapons, he said. Your Maru drawing is a blueprint for a particle accelerator and a particle beam weapon, he said knowingly. Squeezing his thumb and forefinger together to mimic a pincer, he said the weapon is designed to rotate on a circular platform. The horns modulate the pulse emanating from the weapon. And that, folks, looks like this.
Big bong.
In 2004, artist Jack Andrews rendered this Maru drawing in 3D on a computer.
Pacification emplacements are active and tracking at this station.
Presented here is a comparison of the base of Maru with a drawing plan for a cyclotron, particle accelerator designed by Ernest O. Livermore in 1929 and developed in the year 1930, coincident with America's shift to technologically based society. The cyclotron was necessary technology used in the spinning of the atom and the development of an A-bomb. Glancing at the drawing, it's easy to see why scientists saw similarity between the two designs. The question is, what in the world is a blueprint for a particle accelerator doing in a 2nd century Chinese manuscript? One could see that the Maru drawing is an axis that resembles an antenna, or a microwave weapon from Star Wars. There's a reason for this. One well-known scholar of Buddhism, quoted by Victoria Lepage, Lama Angaraka Govinda, says Maru is the seat of cosmic power, the axis which connects the Earth with the universe, the super antenna for the inflow and outflow of the spiritual energies of our planet. Today's scientist calls these spiritual energies high-energy cosmic rays. This astonishing drawing was framed among the famed Dunhuang manuscripts discovered in the secret repository of the Cave of 1,000 Buddhists in the early 20th century by Hungarian explorer Mark Aurel Stein. According to the order of Nasserine and Essenes, numerous 3rd century Manichaean Christian manuscripts were part of the Dunhuang Hall of Records. Historians claim monks in hidden monasteries in Central Asia trained Isa, or Jesus, during his 18 missing silent years between 12 and 30. He traveled the mountain passes and taught widely in the monasteries and markets. So let's take a look at this image we're talking about here. This is etched on a gold plate presented to King Tutankhamun, made by Nubian goldsmith. Zacharias Sitchin's proposed that this is an Anunnaki craft on a silo. The Stargate model proposes is a warp craft instead. Note the pillar is at the bottom center of the drawing. Here is an image detailing the base of the Meru pillar. Rendered in 3D by Jack Andrews. It creates a ring or a vortex. Note the arrangement of a central or whirling mountain surrounded by 4 subsidiary peaks. So the idea here is that there's a great microwave tower or some kind of tower on Mount Meru located somewhere in the center of Atlantis.
Oh, wow. All we gotta do is find it.
Here's the cross of Atlantis with the Meru pillar in the center by Dana Augustine.
Inside the docking bay, remember, loitering is a violation.
Got some wind coming in, Tina. And here is the apex of the Meru pillar, Warcraft by Jack Andrews. My working hypothesis is that this diagram, schematic, or blueprint is a mandala whose symbols point to the functioning of the actual thing.
Avoid unnecessary destruction.
An instrument of some kind, capable of conducting the spiritual energies of the planet. Mandalas are read or memorized for visualization during meditation.
Access corridor is clear.
They are blueprints for the three-dimensional palace of the deity. The purpose of the mandala is twofold: to acquaint the student with the symbols of the deity, i.e. Buddha or Christ, and to allow the student to enter into the mandala, that is, to enter the frequency or vibration in which the deity lives, i.e. Meru. This is how the mystics of Shambhala were raised from man to God-man. They mastered the Meru symbolism. They raised the vibrations of their mind and body, and as he entered the mysterious realm of Shambhala. In the diagram of the base of the Meru pillar, we notice that it has 4 sides. The arrangement of the central or whirling mountain, surrounded by 4 subsidiary peaks, is found in the Navajo sand-painted mandalas, also corresponding to that of Mount Meru, flanked by its 4 guardians and the corresponding 4 subsidiary mountain peaks.
Scan detected. Incoming mission critical message.
In India, as with the Navajos, the 4 guardians are also represented as either gods, Lokapalas, mountains, snakes, nagas, or birds, garudas, in which are frequent animal shapes assumed by them. Moreover, for each of the 4 Hindu guardians is associated with a heraldic color, in exact correspondence to the Navajo ones: white, yellow, black, and red. These, of course, are the 4 races of humanity, which originated in Eden or Atlantis, according to legend. The 4 guardians are sometimes represented by the 4 trees or by winds, suns, moons, archangels, bats, vampires, thunderbolts, as well as by coiled or standing serpents representing zigzag lightning and ball lightning. According to a conversation I had with a Tibetan white sand mandala designer, the concentric rings at the base of the Meru pillar represent water. This is confirmed by Philip Rawson in his book, The Art of Tantra, in which he presents a painting of the Rose Apple Land. Let's see here. I wanted to show a picture of this. There's no picture of this. It's suitable to show you guys. Sorry. This particle accelerator. When we apply this place name to a perceived function of the Meru accelerator, it suggests a creative of a force field. The particle accelerator is an electrical device that generates electrical charged particles, such as electrons, protons, and ions, at high energy. So-called nuclear accelerators are used to split the atom for scientific research. But most particle accelerators are built for more practical applications. They're used to manufacture a myriad of products, including semiconductors. They're also used as X-ray machines for cancer treatment and for detecting weaknesses in materials. The Large Hadron Collider, CERN, is a European nuclear laboratory for research, costing $3 billion and expected to completion in 2007. It will be the largest particle accelerator in the world for nuclear research. While making 17-mile rings at nearly the speed of light, protons will be made to collide with other particles 10 million times per second. The main purpose is to find the Higgs boson, considered by some scientists to be the fundamental element of matter and often called the God particle. In addition, physicists hope to use the colliders to answer the following questions. What is mass? We know how to measure it, but what is it? What is the origin of the mass of particles? In particular, does the Higgs boson exist? What do elementary particles have different masses, i.e. do particles interact with the Higgs field? We know that 95% of the universe's mass is not made of matter as we know it. What is it? i.e. what is dark matter, dark energy? Do supersystemic particles exist? Are there extra dimensions as predicted by various models inspired by string theory? And can we see them? And are there additional violations of the symmetry between matter and antimatter? As of June 2005, no experiment has definitively determined the existence of the Higgs boson. The search for the hypothetical elementary God particle is reminiscent of the ancient metaphysics. According to the Zohar, mana, food of the gods, is made, detected, or produced by a mana machine, strikingly reminiscent of the Meru Pillar particle accelerator. It starts its journey as dew and falls onto the field of holy apples.
Target shields online.
The persons who preserved these secrets called themselves the reapers of the holy fields. The fact that mana was called blessing or mercy, Marusi, tells us the holy field is of beneficial vibrations. The reapers are the ones who know how to harvest the blue apples from this field. They use particle accelerators. Later we'll compare the human body with these devices. It is CERN's search for extra dimensions that is most intriguing to us. What will they find? In addition, in the next few decades, the possibility of black hole production, the highest energy accelerators may arise. Certain predictions of superstring theory are accurate. Scientific American, May 2005. Black hole is an area of space-time with a gravitational field so intense its escape velocity is equal to or exceeds the speed of light.
Hostiles in this sector. Let's
As
try
we can
not to get
see
shot at.
from the comparison of the
Watch
spinning
for
black hole
ready to
presented
go,
here,
Commander.
there is much similarity to symbol Atlantis. I'll leave you confident in the similarity.
Target shields
This computer rendering shows a matter swirling into a spinning black hole whose shape is distorted and not spherical.
target destroyed.
You're on a roll, Commander.
I think that William Henry here hits the nail right on the head.
Flight assist off.
Atlantis, as he puts it, may have had this highly advanced technology.
Sure.
These type of Star Wars type weapons
Under attack.
very well may have had this kind of technology. And I'm of the opinion that was the case. Now I don't know if, like this person believes, these were a golden era of godmen that slowly degenerated over time. I still think these were human beings.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
Okay.
But then you get into all the biblical stuff, people living for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And that raises a lot of questions.
DNA was different. There's some creatures that don't die, right? They just... Isn't an octopus one of those? The creatures that doesn't die?
You're thinking of the immortal jellyfish.
Jellyfish, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to kill. Use some holy water, maybe some divine fire. So, yep. Always remember double tap, ladies and gentlemen. Remember double tap those zombie jellyfish?
Double tap, right?
I believe the zombie jellyfish regresses back into like a infantile state,
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
and then kind of regrows again.
It's crazy. That's DNA. You know, maybe God wiped everything out because they screwed up his perfect creation, you know, by coming in and splicing themselves with us or whatever, things with us, messed up the DNA.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nothing wrong.
What were biblical years, like 900, 800 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, people live
All
for
right.
900 years. Like Adam, I think, like 900 years.
I don't think I'd want to live for 900 years.
Yeah, first 1,000's not bad.
I think the age difference.
Yeah. After that is when we can get annoying. Second 1,000.
I mean, how the hell decrepit you get, you know?
Well, that's why you keep your mind fresh. You do different things. Yeah. Pretty much. It's a constant thing. You get used to it. More immortals around back then than now, that too.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot harder to find another.
The herd's thinning, huh? The herd's
A
thinning.
little bit. A little bit. Not like it used to be. Modern tech is kind of a lot better at getting rid of certain immortals. Let's just say it that way.
Okay. I think that, you know, the Stargate stuff, being in Atlantis, isn't so far-fetched. So some people have made claims that Apollo 17 for the Stargate to the moon. There's been claims that there's Stargate was a big reason for the Iraq War. W. Bush has too.
We can't let them win.
Oh yeah, the Stargate in the Gulf of Aden.
Yep.
Saddam Hussein Stargate. You know, these gateways of the gods. People were called in ancient times.
Sure. Yeah.
Warning. Temperature critical.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about, you know, the other end of that end of Saturn that looks like a, what is it, an octagon or something? Hexagon? Hexagon, yeah.
They're getting away.
That's
Commander.
crazy, isn't it? The way it does that.
It is interesting.
Could that be the remnants of a massive Stargate? Or could itself be an operating Stargate right now?
Right now.
Would it take the whole force of a planet to operate something?
Yeah, I'd say about right now, actually.
Warning. Temperature
That
critical.
just feel like one of the destinations they go to, right? And then,
You got them. Well done, Commander.
And they got a nice little diner.
Saturn's a really interesting subject. That goes along with it.
So what is a Stargate? Humans have long been obsessed with the possibility of alternate universes and a way to instantaneously travel between this one and the next. The concept was popularized by the science fiction TV show Stargate, and as recently as 2015, NASA admitted to having spent at least a decade researching access points to places outside our world, our universe, even beyond space-time as we know it. The term Stargate means just that. An otherworldly door or portal to outside realms hidden within Earth's and space magnetic field, waiting to transport the enlightened traveler to a place beyond current time limitations. While space seems most likely the places for these doorways to other universes, many locations on planet Earth have also been attributed with special transportive capabilities, as well as noticeable shifts in energy, different frequencies, and unexplained lights or sounds. But little to no scientific evidence has supported the theory of wormholes in outer space, much less within Earth's atmosphere, until NASA's Jack Scudder found a way to identify the elusive doorways floating between the Earth and the Sun.
Under attack.
Suspected Stargate locations in space.
Cargo scope
Similar
retracted.
to an Einstein-Rosen bridge or wormhole. The theory of formation of a space portal is one that occurs when space-time is distorted, either by the intense gravitational fields created by the collapse of a star, or by the mingling magnetic forces of the Earth and Sun crossing in space enhanced by violent solar winds. Some of these portals are gaping holes for significantly sustainable periods of time, while most are short-lived, yawning wide and reclosing several times in a day. Stargates can be difficult to find. Their reliable instability, elusiveness, and tendency to be tricky to spot can mean it will take years to locate one. And there are no signs of leading down this road, let alone pointing to it. However, a plasma physicist, Jack Scudder at the University of Iowa, has discovered a technique for spotting the elusive portals. Scudder called these newly discovered road signs exports, and the intersecting magnetic fields flowing between the Earth and the Sun propel vast amounts of charged particles out of the portals, easy to spot with the correct instruments and the right data. Once Scudder was able to recognize the indications of a portal, he was able to find similar patterns occurring all over the place in Earth's atmosphere. Observed by NASA's Themis spacecraft, they surround the Earth at a distance of 10,000 to 30,000 miles away. Most of them seem to be located where the Sun and the Earth's magnetic fields connect to form an unobstructed path, causing an area to pulse with charged particles that also creates northern lights and geomagnetic storms we sometimes witness here. While not entirely certain what exactly these portals are, Scudder and his team remain optimistic that the answer is not beyond reach. Stargates are fascinating overlaps of science fiction and reality, and there are some who claim we have the ability to access portals here on Earth. Some locations are thought to be compass points on a map, designed by sacred geometry and possess the ability to transport us to parallel universes. Among the earthly Stargate sites, the most noted are the Stonehenge Formation and the Bermuda Triangle. Several other locations are also attributed with being ancient alien portals. So I got a list of some of them here. The Gate of the Gods in Peru, not far from Lake Titicaca, is one of the most well-known and widely suspected portals to another world. The Gate of the Gods is an ancient site discovered in 1996 by local tour guide Jose Luis Delgado Mamani. According to lore, the massive stone door was a portal through which heroes of the past entered to join the gods in the next life. Stories have also had it that a few of those heroes were able to return through the same door, accompanied by their holy gods, to inspect the world they'd left behind. The door itself is a large stone structure carved into the face of Huaymarca Mountain, 7 meters in height, 7 meters wide, with a smaller recessed door at its base. Since this site is now protected by the Peruvian government as an ancient archaeological site, there have not been any recent digs at this location. You guys familiar with the look of the Gate of the Gods? Have you seen it before? We'll take a look at it.
No.
Interesting structure of the Gate of the Gods here.
Okay.
Everybody should get a glimpse of it. You've probably seen this on Ancient Aliens or something like that. There we go. That's in Peru. Now, there's also an ancient stone arrangement in Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah. That feet.
In 2007, 40 feet below the surface of Lake Michigan, Professor Mark Hollery and his colleague Brian Abbott came across a stone formation while using sonar equipment to trap shipwrecks. In addition to the familiar Stonehenge-like construction, the underwater archaeologists also discovered a boulder on which appeared to be the carving of a mastodon, a creature believed to be extinct for at least 10,000 years, which happened to coincide with the time when humans and mastodons most likely populated the Midwest. While most scientists believe this to be a petroglyph, some remain convinced this could be an ancient prehistoric portal leading to another world. Currently in question is whether or not a massive stone came to rest there before or after the existence of the lake, and determining the authenticity of the mastodon petroglyph should provide a decent answer. So I wonder if I can find any pictures of that to share. I'd really like to take a look at that myself.
Under attack.
Jackpot.
Jackpot.
Here we go, folks.
Target shields offline. Trajectory disruption.
There's the Sedona vortexes, the doorway of the gods. There are many places in the American Southwest that seem to offer some things that are beyond and none are quite like Sedona, Arizona, where the air and geology lends itself to feeling naturally spiritually charged. It is difficult to argue beautiful pairs of red rock buds, the scent of pines, vortexes of energy, and what's known as the doorway of the gods brings a unique feeling to this place that differs from the surrounding countryside. According to local legend, tunnels and gateways leading to other worlds exist all over Sedona. Star people, too, are purported to have entered and exited through the portals. The doorway itself is a large archway of red rock at the top of the mountain. Some have seen blue lights emanating from it, and there are even accounts of strange sounds like muted bells or thunder surrounding the rocks on days with clear blue skies. These vortexes are also attributed with unique capabilities. Formed from some energy similar to those found in the human body, the shift in energy can be felt as subtle vibrations, bringing those who experience it a sense of calm and rejuvenation, as the outward pulses align with those that naturally occur in the human body. Many have noted the feeling these subtle fluctuations in frequencies in the area, although conclusive scientific testing or investigation hasn't confirmed anything yet. So whether yawning wide in space or suddenly concealed within a lake or rock outcroppings, the existence of stargates is a subject that has fascinated many people across the globe. Many of these curious are scientists who are unable to find other explanations for either their findings or stories of those who reportedly witnessed the powerful nature of a stargate. The possibility of direct path to other worlds, times, or even universes outside our own is one that will continue to fascinate us for centuries to come. Pretty good stuff.
Multiple hostiles in this sector. Let's try not to get shot at.
Oh, I just see Dark Wolf's Den is here. Good to see you, Dark Wolf's Den.
A lot of our old family members here tonight.
Temperature control.
Superman Comic points out that Machu Picchu is supposedly stargated too with pale aliens. I wouldn't doubt that Machu Picchu itself is full of strange energies.
Yeah.
I had a friend who got the opportunity to visit there some years back, and they said it was breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking.
How do they feel though? Do they feel any strange energies or?
I don't recall if we discussed that.
Oh, okay.
Shields online.
Yeah, I don't recall if that came up. So,
Yeah, I think residence has a lot to do with a lot of things, a lot of places. Those give us like the ones that you felt good, right? Made you feel comfortable.
right.
I'd love to visit some of those places, you know. One day.
They're getting away, Commander. Stop them. Multiple hostiles in this sector. Let's try not to get shot at.
Temperature critical.
what else? Stargate's ancient rituals and those invited through the portal. Too long. Too long, anyway. Too long. Too long for our purposes here. We had it forever.
Good shooting, Commander.
Yeah, some believe the Bermuda Triangle is one of these stargates.
Sure.
Now, I could absolutely see that being the case. You know, you got places around the Earth like the Devil's Triangle, Bermuda Triangle. You know, Mystic Form. One could be cases of people wandering through naturally occurring stargates. Who knows?
And how many triangles are supposed to be around it? Or like about 3 of them? Or is there more? Or less?
Well, there's a Bennington Triangle, there's a Devil's Triangle, there's a Bermuda Triangle. Those are just 3 I can think of.
3 of them, yeah. Okay. So all those could be stargates.
Yeah, you never really know. You know, the Superstition Mountains.
Yes.
You have stargates in Superstition Mountains, something of that
Yes.
effect.
Up in here too. People just appear. Star people just appear there. That'd be something else. Sitting there and some guy just appears out of the blue.
Well, there's many cases of that happening. You know, we deal with a lot of strange phenomenon here. There are very strange stories of people just appearing or disappearing out of the blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether that's related to stargates, who could really know? You know,
That'd be a good theory, though.
it could be naturally occurring stargates.
Victory is close, I can feel it. Keep up the pressure.
You know, and that's why I've got some more information here. The Stargate of the Alien Gods by Ellen Lloyd. This is 2006 from the ESO Libris website. According to Native American legend, there is an interdimensional doorway hidden deep within the Andes Mountains. Apparently, this is one of a number of strategic stargates around our planet. After the year 2012, this is 2006. As the year 2012 is approaching, many are asking, will the Stargate of the Gods now open and allow our craters to return to their stun ships? We possess the key and secret knowledge that can open the cosmic portal leading to the kingdom of gods. Would you be prepared to travel to a world beyond your imagination and meet the masters of the stars? If we examine the progress of humanity today, or sometimes rather lack thereof, we wonder if we have reached a stage in our development allowing us to enter the domain of highly advanced
More than one enemy here, Commander. Tread carefully.
Readers unfamiliar with the subject will naturally wonder what is so special about 2012.
Target destroyed.
And in what way the year is connected with the opening of Stargate. Now, sorry, this is on Moon. 2012 didn't open Stargate, or maybe it did. Who knows?
You really made a difference.
Flight assist on.
Maybe 2012 opened a Stargate big enough for the whole planet to go through.
Target is trying to escape, Commander.
You know, they say there's possible vortices in South and Meso and North America, in Egypt, and Malta, and Crete, Spain, Italy, Greece, Britain, France, Mesopotamia, Lebanon, Australia, and Asia, all over the world. These vortices occur, where these stargates could exist. The idea that there's gateways to parallel universes and dimensions that push through our reality. You know, I think it's all rather humbling to think of the possibilities that exist in a world where these things are reality. And I don't think it's so far-fetched. I mean, people like to think that these things are super far-fetched, and, you know, this is like, you know, I mean, it's par for the course for what we talk about here, and I guess you get used to kind of talking about this kind of things, you know. If some of the stuff we talk about here is starting to sound normal to you, then maybe you've been hanging out.
Right?
Russ a little too long.
Yeah.
But like it shouldn't sound normal because none of it is normal. I mean, we just talked about Atlantis having stargates here. You know,
I look at it like that's as adults, that's our magic we have. You know, as kids, you had Santa and Easter Bunny and Tooth Fairy, but this is our magic. That's why I love these subjects. This is our magic, you know, because it's possible. It could be. Why not?
Frameshift drive charging.
Do you agree?
I think it leaves room for mystery in the world, and a lot of that doesn't really.
Settling down.
There's not a lot of room for mystery left.
That's my point, I think. Yeah. And this is
You
it.
know, a lot of it's been dispelled by technology.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. I think we can see through walls. We can make people invisible. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, technology is absolutely amazing, but I think that, you know, there was a time prior to technology where there were other methods, and those methods were effective. And I think that we were slowly drawn away from those connections we had
Yeah.
with those other methods.
Yeah. There's supposed to be healing properties in the earth, you know? Technically, you're supposed to be able to go out and just stand in the dirt and get healing properties from the earth.
Yeah, that's a lot of that stuff is like so new age nonsense. You know what I mean? Like I take all of it with a grain of salt because it is so like crystals, and salt baths, and stuff like that. You know, it's not really my cup of tea, and I don't disparage it, but I take it all with a grain of salt. You know, the same way I do with channeling.
I think earthing is interesting. I find that interesting.
I mean, grounding, I think it's called.
Or earthing. I heard it called earthing too.
Stargate Atlantis?
Hey, my bad.
Sorry, just got off the other stream.
Yeah, you just stand outside in the dirt, and there's supposed to be, you know, healing properties to the earth, in the earth that you.
There is with solar radiation a little bit, and there is. Well, you there are minerals, and especially if you're somebody who is sensitive to the vibrations of like the atmospheric change.
Right.
It's like I've been down with freaking sinus pressure all day, so.
Oh god, me too. Bad.
Yeah, so just kind of standing outside, standing in the sun. A lot of the times I'll just kind of stand under my sunlight just to kind of be like, and just be calm and like.
Yeah, well, think about it. You know, when you go to the beach and you're barefoot and you're walking in the sand, you're walking in the ocean, you just feel revitalized when you get home. You know, you just feel just awesome the next day, next couple of days.
I hate the fucking beach.
Well, I don't like to go
you
in the water.
For the next 10 days, there's sand everywhere. There's fucking sand fleas and fucking bite flies.
Oh, you're such a city boy. Holy hell.
Oh, God, I hate it.
I like it. I used to go. I used to go. I lived in Hollywood, because it was only like 6 miles away, so, you know, it wasn't like a day trip. I mean, you could just go for a couple hours and come back home. That's what was nice about it, because it was so close.
You know, I want to bring it back to something we touched on last night, because I did touch on the Montauk Project last night. And the Montauk Project was essentially the working of creating a Stargate as well, because they had established wormholes through space and time. So this technology that we talk about being ancient and working with the Atlanteans was something that was rediscovered and brought back in the modern era. No preference, colorblind fencing specialist. I am not smoking a Cuban. This is a Drew Estates Acid Blonde Bellicose. My favorite brand of cigar is Acid by Drew Estates. So if you see me smoking a cigar, it's one of those. I like the Cuba Cubas and the Blonde Bellicose and the Blondies. They're pretty good. All pretty good stuff. Anywho,
Good cigars.
you know, when we've talked about stuff like Project Looking Glass, you know, where they were using a device to view through time, to view the cosmic multiverse. You know, we talked about various stargates that existed in the past. We talked about the potential stargates being created now.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that, you know, CERN came up earlier in the evening, and I think CERN comes up, you know, now. Will the Large Hadron Collider open up a portal to another dimension? That was the question they were asking back in 2015.
Sure. They want to build a bigger one, right? No.
I believe that's what you were saying one night.
I loved everything that was going on in there. I tell you. I mean, that particle they found, that's, you know, the basis for every object, period. You know, a toaster, you, me, a cat, a stick. That's what holds the DNA together to make anything.
Are you comparing me to a stick?
No, never. Not my mecha.
That was super not accurate at all.
Let's see here. There's a Stargate in my basement if anyone wants to come see, says Milkman Cometh. Now, Milkman,
Okay.
I don't know if you're just trying to lure people down into your basement with promises of Stargates. Next thing you know, you're bonked over the head.
Dead. You're
That's not very
dead.
nice if you're teasing, because, you know.
Bonking people over the head. Are you bludgeoning people? Like, come see my Stargate, get bludgeoned?
Yeah, you're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and there's gonna be crowd standing outside your front door.
Then you're going to draw on their face, knock them out, tape them up, and draw on their face.
Put a dick on the side of their face.
There's a Pokemon that does that. Do you believe that? There's a Pokemon that sings you to sleep and then draws on your face.
No.
I believe it.
It's got the best
Well, that's
name.
what you do.
What's it
Yep.
called?
It's called Jigglypuff.
Jiggly what?
Yep.
Oh, Jigglypuff?
Jigglypuff.
Jigglypuff?
Jigglypuff.
Yep. Jiggly poof.
It's got a microphone, and it sings, and then you pass out, and it takes the microphone off, and it's a marker, and it draws all over you.
Oh my
Yep.
god, that is fun.
Big fat red marker. Circle it around.
Oh my god.
You gotta do it right too. No, it's just not right.
Jigglypuff.
It don't look good if you don't do it right. Make sure to get the edges.
Okay.
Jake King points out when you're walking barefoot, you're absorbing Earth's energy field. I could see that, the Earth thing.
Yeah.
I can see that there's maybe something to that. You know, like
Yeah, it's especially good. Yeah.
I love to feel the grass between my toes and shit.
Yeah, I was about to say that, the grass. If you do it on the grass, I mean, yeah, it does add something to it.
You do what on the grass?
I don't know, you become one with nature.
if you do it with grass.
Yes, I said it a certain way.
You do it with grass.
You sure to feel the grass real well.
There's also a Stargate in my pants, says Transcendent Cthulhu overlaying with that. Another story. Zorgo loves when Jigglypuff sings. Bevo Burn points out Jiggly gets mad because you fall asleep and then draws on you. I didn't realize Jigglypuff got mad because you fell asleep when it was singing. I thought the falling asleep was a side effect of the Jigglypuff song.
Sounds demonic in nature.
So it sounds like a perfect
It's
circle.
cute.
No, Jigglypuff's the best.
Okay.
Well, I think he's in Smash Brothers, right?
I don't know. I've never.
One
I
of the-
don't
it's
have
a pink
had a
one, right?
Nintendo in 100 years.
It's the pink one, right?
Yeah, he's pink. He's round. I'm gonna pull up a picture of Jigglypuff right now. This is
Okay.
going off the rails. So here
Yeah,
we
he's
go.
cute.
I can never tell him
Jigglypuff.
apart from Kirby, because he's also pink and round.
Jigglypuff's got a.
Ah. Okay.
Oh, he's cute. What's the other? What's the fairy something or other? There's a
Penis on
Pokemon
his
that's
head.
like a fairy something.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know like the basics. I know like Jigglypuff and Squirtle, Charmander.
See, it's kind of there. You go, Clefairy. It's another pink one. See, I'm not a big. I played a little of Pokemon Go and a little bit of like Pokemon Let's Go, but I'm not a big. I was always a Yokai Watch person.
I do remember being in my early 20s and sitting around with my buddies, passing the peace pipe and watching Pokemon. Funniest shit we ever saw. Like, legitimately, like 19 or 20 years old, like watching Pokemon in the afternoons after work. Like, coming home, rushing home to get there in time. Like, oh god, I gotta get home from work. I can't miss Pokemon.
Getting all into the stories and shit.
Oh, it was all about the story, dude. Ash Ketchum, gotta catch them all. Gotta be the very best. Like, no
Why did they have to catch him?
Team Rocket? Because it was a sport.
Oh, okay.
Because they're just out there running around wild like a bunch of fucking
idiots, it's like catching a raccoon in a ball and then making a raccoon fight for you.
Enslave them for all eternity. Hold them at their will.
Sounds like it.
And then if you don't need them, you take them to the professor and he grinds them up for candy to feed to the next one. I made that up. I made that part up.
Pokemon getting dark in here. I got it from my friend Courtney. Still plays Pokemon Go. Still plays it. I tempted to play it to see how many Pokemon I'd find around the house.
Okay.
But then I'd have to go outside and be walking up the street to see how many Pokemon I find up there.
Yeah.
Can't believe how
get some exercise though.
I don't want to do that.
I'm
turning it around.
People would get hurt playing that, right?
Well, they would if they were idiots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fucking Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, well, it happened though, right?
Can't have people Mr. Magooing their way through life.
No.
Well, yeah, they weren't paying attention to anything. They were just there walking around like a bunch of dumbasses.
No different than people on their cell phones, I guess, so.
People are on their cell phones when they're playing Pokemon Go, too.
Yeah, it's on your phone, and you look down at your phone looking for this Pokemon you're tracking.
No, I'm saying on the, like regular, like texting and stuff like that. No different than that. So.
Yeah, it's no different than that.
Text my butt. Text pictures of my butt to everybody.
Okay. The guy that sat on the copier at work.
No, I used to press my face into it.
Did you?
Yeah. I used it for pictures to make flyers for my band.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Nice. They do the hand or middle finger. Middle finger was always fun. Yeah.
I did the middle finger, yeah.
I did all kinds of fun stuff.
The good old days,
I'm a fun guy. Yeah, I'm a fun guy. I'm full of fucking fun and surprises.
That's right.
Come hang down. Come hang down with Pete. Fucking get ready for the fucking ride of your life.
That's right.
We're gonna fucking do nothing and go nowhere.
I don't know. I think you'd probably get a pretty good meal there. Definitely.
I'll do nothing, go nowhere. I'm gonna drink a 6-pack of ice cold beer. Oh.
No, I think you get a good meal at Pete's house. Definitely.
I do like to cook.
Get a good fresh homemade pizza or pretzel. Yum.
That's just baking. I've been working on my ribeyes lately.
Nice.
I'm really practicing on my ribeyes. But the problem with practicing on ribeyes is you eat a lot of ribeyes. I was telling my wife.
Expensive, man.
Yeah, I know. But,
$20 a pound or some shit. No, it's like $17 a pound, I think, last time I checked.
You get two of them like for $14.
No, not here.
Well, up here.
Frameshift drive charging.
I don't know how many cows you got there in Florida. They probably got all come in from somewhere else.
I don't know. I mean, no, we got.
Yeah. Good chunk from Texas and California.
Sell beef.
Yeah.
We got people who sell beef. It's just like they want to import everything. Though we get fucking oranges from California, and California gets oranges from Florida. It don't make no sense.
Don't make sense to you. Makes perfect sense to the oranges.
Yes, does it?
You want the orange to live his whole fucking life, live and die in the same fucking state?
Not really.
It's bullshit.
Okay. All
Bullshit.
right.
You shouldn't
I
think
ain't gonna
that.
argue.
It's not fair to fucking oranges.
I am not going to argue with you. So I believe you.
Person's asking who hates coriander. I don't know if I hate coriander, but I'll tell you what I do hate. Cilantro.
I hate it too. Ugh.
Yeah.
So
Tastes
Well,
like fucking
it tastes
soap.
funny.
Yep,
It does.
cilantro ruins every goddamn thing.
we looked that
Just
up
don't
too.
put it on my
Remember?
stuff.
Mhm.
Bad.
There's something in it. There's something in it that makes certain people.
Yeah,
Like,
there's like
you
it's
and
like a weird
me.
allergy, and you taste you only taste the
Like a soap.
dish soap
Yeah.
sort of flavor. Yeah.
So
Yeah, can't
I'm
stand
like that.
cilantro. Oh
Like
god.
my cousin here's ex-husband's the same thing. He says the same thing. It tastes like soap to him, but
So on that,
everybody else.
cilantro sucks.
Yep,
Away from that shit.
Got it,
big
Commander.
time.
Deploying
Look, I
ship.
appreciate you all tuning in with us here tonight. I'm so glad you could be here with us night after night, day after day, as we
Fighter is prepped, ready to go, Commander.
delve into the world of the weird. I want to say thank you to Raul G and Jared Centerfold for your generous super chats. They're much appreciated. Always appreciated. Never expected. Always appreciated. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to my panel for being here tonight. Good to see you. DJ D, been a minute. Good to have you around again, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yep, always fun, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed.
Don't
Some
hesitate-
antediluvians running around.
Well, there we go. One good antediluvian left over. Everybody have a drink. So listen, check out the description of the video. You'll find links to my Twitter and my email if you've got suggestions for the show. You can leave them down in the comments of this video as well. And we'll pick up stories for High Strangeness. So if you've got ideas you'd like to share with us. Teespring store, I got a sale going on until the end of the month. The code is July Xmas. Save 15% off your purchase on the Teespring store. I hope you check it out. Lots of great designs up there. A lot of coffee mugs, a lot of t-shirts, some leggings for the ladies, some tote bags. If you're interested in picking up a nice tote, just check it out. I hope you'll check that stuff out. Likewise, Patreon. If you're a Patreon supporter, I want to say thank you. I really do appreciate you for sticking out your hard-earned cash and backing up the show. And if you're in a position to become a Patreon supporter, it's just $1 a month. We've got one tier. It's $1 a week. It's less than the price of a cup of coffee. And if you're in a position to pick up $1 a month, I hope you consider signing up and becoming a Patreon supporter. Thank you so very much. Likewise, links to everybody else's channel are down in the description of this video. Don't hesitate to subscribe to them as well. And as we do, this has been the Creepy Little Book Live, and you've been listening to High Strangeness, the #1 late-night paranormal podcast on YouTube. I've been your host, Pete, and with me tonight with DJ D of the DJ D Show, Macarena 42, and Dana Tomaszewski. And until tomorrow night, everybody, stay creeped out.
damage here, Commander. Need to evade...
Nice work, Ace. I'm starting to think we could win this thing.
Holland's in critical condition, Commander. Fighter link is down. We lost it, Commander.
Fighter assembly initiated. Shields offline. Taking damage. Flight assist off.
Enemy dispatched. Acquiring new target.
Flight assist on. Flight assist off. Shields online. Flight assist on. Under attack. Fighter assembly complete.
Copy that. Engaging telepresence control for fighter. Link established. Awaiting instructions.
Taking heat damage. Under attack. Target shields offline. Warning. Temperature critical. Under attack. Under attack.
We've almost broken them.
Target destroyed.
You got them. Well done, Commander.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Commander. Stop them.
Target shield is offline. Target destroyed.
Nicely done, Commander.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Okay, Commander. Fighter is on the way back. We're all set, Commander. Fighter secured.
Cargo scoop retracted. Frameshift drive charging.